This is Thomas Millian. We're going to conclude this study with this segment. This is the conclusion. The Sabbath is a gift. Ultimately, the goal is to receive the Sabbath as a gift from God, intended to be a 24-hour sanctuary and a time of striving. Reflect on your reliance on God and enjoy what He has already created and provided. If your suburban activities, sports, projects, or cooking leave you more exhausted, less reflective, and less focused on God than when you started, they are likely working against the spirit of the Sabbath. The question of whether Yahweh would agree with the Seventh-day Adventist SDA way of keeping the Sabbath is a matter of theological interpretation, as the Bible does not explicitly endorse any modern denomination-specific practices. However, SDA Sabbath observation is rooted in an attempt to adhere strictly to the biblical commandments and principles regarding the seventh-day Sabbath. The core principles of the SDA practice that align directly with the biblical commandments given by Yahweh, the Hebrew name for God, include the day of observance. SDAs observe the Sabbath from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset in accordance with the biblical reckoning of a day from evening to evening. Leviticus for chapter 23, verse 32. And the pattern set in Genesis, the evening and morning, or the first day. This is based on the fourth commandment to remember the seventh day as the Sabbath. Exodus 20, verse 8 to 11. Rest from secular labor. The fundamental biblical command is to do no work. Exodus 20, verse 10. SDAs interpret this to mean ceasing from all secular labor, work for profit, and routine daily occupations. This reflects the spirit of a divine rest after creation. Preparation Day. SDAs place a strong emphasis on Friday as the preparation day to ensure all chores, cooking, and other necessities are completed before sunset. Exodus 16, verse 23. A day of delight and spiritual focus. The practice is guided by the principle of calling the Sabbath a delight and honorable, turning away from your own ways, your own pleasure, and speaking your own words. Isaiah 58, verse 13. This is interpreted as a day for worship, rest, spiritual communion, fellowship, and works of mercy. Specific observances and interpretations. While the core tenets align with biblical commands, the SDA Church, through its teaching, has developed specific guidelines that interpret how the biblical prohibitions on work and one's own pleasure apply in modern context. Area SDA practice. No routine cooking is to be done on the Sabbath. Food should be prepared on Friday. Simple warming of previously cooked food is generally acceptable. Biblical basis interpretation based on command to the Israelites before receiving 10 commandments. Bake that which you will bake today, and seethe that ye will seethe. Activities, emphasis on spiritual activities, fellowship, nature walks to commune with the Creator, and works of mercy, visiting the sick, secular media, competitive sports, buying, selling, and travel for personal interests are discouraged. Biblical basis or interpretation based on the command to do no work. Exodus 20, verse 10, and the prohibition against seeking your own pleasure. Isaiah 58, verse 13. Jesus' example of healing on the Sabbath affirms that it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath. Matthew chapter 12, verse 12. In summary, SDAs believe their method of keeping the Sabbath is in agreement with Yahweh's command, viewing it as a faithful adherence to the moral law given at creation and codified in the Ten Commandments. The distinction from the more literal, sometimes strict historical Jewish traditions is often focused on the spirit of the law, rest, worship, and doing good, rather than the letter alone. I would disagree with the SDAs. They're supposed to be part of the new covenant, and they're trying to obey the old one and follow the law. So I would disagree. And the only thing Jesus said about the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. It's just a day of rest. I think they got it really wrong. Anyway, and if it's Saturdays, even the Sabbath, 14.3% chance. I don't know. God bless. That ends the study. Hope you studied hard and learned something about the Sabbath. God bless.